Good afternoon, my name is George Perez, and this is the Program Portfolio Project for Management Information Systems, CIS 3304. The subject of this presentation will be the Hogar Inn and Suites. Hogar is Spanish for home, and it will be our mission to ensure maximum comfort and convenience so that guests feel as if they were staying in their own home. So the Hogar Inn and Suites, as a hospitality business, would of course make great use of information systems, just as many other businesses in the world today. But before we go any further talking about the specifics, we should probably talk about the definition of information systems, just in case there's somebody watching this video that's not entirely sure what the definition is. So according to the textbook, an information system can be defined as the combinations of hardware, software, and telecommunications network that people build and use to collect, create, and distribute useful data, and that is typically done in an organizational setting. So at the Hogar Inn and Suites, there's likely going to be all of the major aspects of information systems present. Now, if you look up on the screen, the first major component of information systems is, of course, hardware. This includes things like the computers, like the front desk computer and the one in the manager's office. And those are going to work in conjunction with the software. Now, if you look here at the software, we're talking about the property management system. The property management system is going to be very important to us because it's likely going to help us do all of our daily functions and do everything that we need to do as a hospitality business. And of course, the third major aspect is going to be data. Data is going to be very important because at the end of the day, we're going to have a lot of people coming in and out of the hotel. And when you think about all that and how many reservations are going to be generated online, there's going to be a whole lot of data to interpret and collect. Now, the fourth major aspect is people. People is what bring everything together in the information system. Without the people, the information system is pretty much incomplete. The people look at the information, interpret it, and then they act upon it accordingly. Now, of course, the Hogar Inn and Suites will have many uses of information systems. Now, the first two basic functions, if you look here at the screen, will be to book rooms and to check in guests. That'll be to follow our whole business model, and what we do as a business. Now, to do many of the hospitality functions, we're probably going to rely a lot on our property management system. Now, I personally worked at Best Western, and we use Visual Matrix. I know there's other systems out there, but I can tell you that we definitely want one that's going to be effective, safe, and easy to use as well. Some of the other major aspects, that we're going to have use for is the managed housekeeping and maintenance records. Now, housekeeping and maintenance records are very important because, of course, as a hotel, we want to make sure that our rooms are clean and up to standard. If we do not do that, then our reputation will likely fall, and then that'll end up hurting us in the long run. Now, another smaller aspect is inventory. Now, of course, our inventory is not going to be as vast as let's say a supermarket or as a distribution center, but it's still going to be pretty important. We're going to have inventory of cleaning supplies, of food for breakfast, and of course shampoos and towels. So it's going to be important to keep track of all those items as well. Such technology that we have there, such as our phones, it's going to help us communicate with guests. Now, just in case there's any problem, with the room, they can of course let us know, and that'll also make it easier for one guest to connect to the other as well. Now, when we talk about communicating with guests, it's also important to talk about not only the guests that are there in the hotel, but we also want to communicate with the guests that are outside of the hotel as well. And what do I mean by that? I mean that somebody who's potentially going to book a room, we want to make sure that they have all the information at their disposal. We want them to know the location, we want them to know the price, and we want them to have pictures. Of course, we're probably going to be working with third-party booking agencies such as Expedia, such as Trivago, and things along those lines. So we're going to need an information system that can effectively communicate with those third-party booking agencies as well. And of course, in the long run, this will help the hotel with it be efficient and effective. And we're going to have several needs and requirements of our information system. Now, Of course, we're going to have a lot of information. We're going to have people's credit card numbers. We're going to have people's address. Some people, they're not even going to want us to know that they don't want anybody to know that they're staying at the hotel. So first and foremost, we need an information system that is going to be secure, that's going to keep the information private and keep us safe as well. Because the last thing we want is for somebody's information to be getting out when it was in our own hands. That's not what we want. So that's the main requirement that we have for the information system. The second one that we have is, of course, we want it to be accurate. The last thing we want is to have, for example, a guest book a room and then on the website there's a wrong address, because they're probably going to be very infuriated, and it's definitely going to make us look bad and harm us as a business. So we need to always make sure that our information is accurate and that it is correct. Now, another thing that we definitely need out of our information system is that it needs to be easy to use. Of course, it's not going to be so simple, so that's to where it does nothing. But of course, we want it to be intuitive to where it's easy to teach to people, because when you have a business, time is always of the essence. So what we need is a system that is effective and that can be learned by virtually anyone. Because of course, there's some systems that can only be learned by a certain number of people. So definitely what we're going to need is a system that can be learned by any potential employee that we may have. And the last and final aspect is going to be that it needs to be effective at authorizing and at accounting. Now, these are two major aspects when it comes to the functions at a hotel. Authorizing, it mainly has to do with the credit cards, because when somebody hands you a credit card, you really don't know if it's stolen, you don't know if it doesn't have funds, and you really don't know anything about it. So the system definitely needs to make sure that it can effectively authorize a credit card, because the last thing that we want to do is book somebody in a room if they have a stolen credit card, for example. And the other thing is accounting. Accounting is very important, because of course, when the night audit is done and the system rolls over into the next day, there's a whole lot of balances that are being updated at that time. So we need to make sure that all of that is correct and that it is accurate as well. And of course, that's going to help us in the long run, when we're doing our yearly accounting. The last potential aspect of the information systems at the Hogar Inn and Suites will be the implementation and the potential problems as well. So since it is an information system, our employees are going to have to learn it, and what our strategy will be to teach every single employee the system, at least some of it, depending on the position. Of course, managers and front desk staff will be expected to know the entire information system in and out and be able to work with it. But obviously, there's other types of employees, such as the laundry room staff, or such as maintenance, or the housekeepers. They will be expected to have at least a basic understanding of the system, so that in case of an emergency, they are able to act as well. And another major aspect, of course, will be how we train the employees. We believe more in giving employee scenarios. So, for example, we will go to an employee when they're training and tell them, such and such guest wants to add a military discount to their reservation. How do you do that? Or if not, we'll say, such and such guest wants to cancel their reservation. How do you do that? And we believe that hands-on training is how the employees are going to learn better. Now, since it is a information system and it's going to be new to them, there's potential for mistakes. But what we want is for there to always be someone there who is very knowledgeable with the system, so that if they do make a mistake, they're able to correct it, and so that they can learn from that mistake, so that it doesn't happen anymore. Now, the last potential problem, of course, is that information systems are usually very costly. Even though it's costly, it's usually worth it in the long run, so that we can function effectively as a business. Now, I just want to take this time to say thank you so much for watching my presentation on information systems. I hope to see you soon at the Hogar Inn and Suites.